It's time for the RMAC Radio Show, featuring all the latest information from around the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference. The RMAC is a proud member of NCAA Division II. Now, here's your host, Eric Danner.
Welcome to the RMAC Radio Show. Eric Danner with you. A little bit of an unusual show. We usually try to get things underway Monday mornings, and it's more of a Monday evening at this point. But nonetheless, we're getting the show done. I want to thank everybody for joining us. Got a big show planned for you today. We're going to talk with Christina Whitelaw of Colorado Christian University. She is the RMAC Offensive and Defensive Player of the Week. CCU, big upset victory over Metro State this past weekend. We're also going to talk men's hoops, another upset against Metro State as Colorado Mines defeated the Roadrunners. And we're going to talk with the new sports information director at Colorado Mines, and he'll join us in our last segment. But we start with women's basketball. Let's give you a quick rundown of the standings. Fort Lewis College now in first place by themselves with a 9-0 record in conference, 12-1 overall. Fort Lewis continuing to roll along. Metro State, as we mentioned, upset this past weekend against CCU. They're 8-1, game back of FLC. Now, CSU Pueblo kind of flying a little bit under the radar. They are now 8-1 in conference, 11-2 overall. We always know Kip Drown is going to have things together, especially by March, but they are certainly playing well here in January. Colorado Mesa, Western State, both tied at 6-4 in conference, and we're getting to that point where we start to look at who's in the top 8. And the top 8 get to go to the RMAC tournament, and those two teams in good shape right now. UCCS, Colorado Christian, Regis, Adams State, Colorado Mines, all at 4-5. So it is going to be a fun race to the finish towards the end of the season here. New Mexico Highlands checks in at 4-6, just a half game behind those teams. And then Chadron State and Kearney at 2-7. Western New Mexico still looking for their first win of the season. And as we mentioned, Christina Whitelaw, the offensive and defensive player of the week. We don't see it happen very often, but Christina definitely had a great weekend, and she joins us now on the RMAC hotline. Christina, how's it going?
Good.
Christina, first off, let's talk about the big win over Metro State. I know the start of the season didn't really go the way you guys had planned. Your guys were picked third in the conference in the preseason coaches poll. Didn't start off that way, but now here you are with a big win over Metro. You guys have now won 4 out of your last 5. Do you think you've turned a corner?
Yeah, I think it's a really big turning point for us. We, like you said, obviously didn't start as well as we had hoped, but at this point in the year, we just knew that we needed a few games just to get us going, and going into the weekend with Regis and Metro, we knew it could be a make-or-break weekend for us, and we came out on top, so I think we're going to be good from here.
Talking with Christina Whitelaw, Offensive Player of the Week. She averaged 25.5 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, and 6 steals on the weekend. Now, maybe the 25 points, not a huge surprise, or the steals, but Christina, you're rebounding this year. I see you're averaging almost 8 rebounds a game as a guard, as a 5'8" guard. What's different this year that has you pounding the glass as opposed to maybe years past?
I think it's more just my mentality going to play. Before, I was just scared, freshman, just trying to figure things out. And my assistant coach, Jess, just pulled me aside one game and said, "You've played your best games when it starts with your rebounding." So that's just been something I've been focusing on.
Talking with Christina Whitelaw from Colorado Christian University, and when you mentioned Jess, that is Jessica Caldwell, played high school ball in Colorado Springs at Coronado High School, went on to Baylor University, was an outstanding college player, played in the Sweet 16 against Tennessee. I remember that game. And you being also from Colorado Springs and being a guard, maybe similar stature to Jessica, have you used her maybe as a little bit of a role model?
Oh, yeah, in every way possible. She helps me with everything in basketball and off the court. She's just a great mentor to me.
Talking with Christina Whitelaw. She's a sophomore guard, 5'8", to Colorado Springs St. Mary's High School, currently 8th in the league in scoring, 14.4 points per game, 4th in the league in rebounding, 7.7, 3rd in the league in assists at 4.6. So, Christina, when you're out there playing, do you make a mental note of, hey, I need to get other people involved, I need to get the assists going, or, hey, I need to get in there and help out some of our bigs, on the glass, or do you just let the game come to you?
I really try and focus on getting other people involved, and I think when I do that, that's when my game starts up too, and I can just get a good pass or, just grab a rebound and get it out to somebody else. That gets my game going too, so just playing for my team helps me.
Christina Whitelaw was the RMAC Defensive Player of the Year and Freshman of the Year last season, and she led all of NCAA Division II in steals. Off to another great start defensively this year. I guess it's more than a start. We're more than halfway through the season, averaging 4.6 steals per game. Christina, how do you anticipate getting those steals so well? Is there a secret to your success?
I think it's more that I'm just a ball defender. I don't pay as close attention to my man as I should, but I also think playing soccer for my whole life helps a lot, just being able to run passing lanes, and I can read people's eyes pretty well, and I don't know, I just anticipate it, and I miss it a lot too, but really putting myself out there helps me.
Talking with Christina Whitelaw, she was the state basketball 3A Player of the Year in 2009 at St. Mary's High School, and also should note that she was the state soccer Player of the Year in 2010, and I could bring witnesses in here, Christina, even the success you've had on the basketball court, people who saw you play in high school that will come in here and say you were a better soccer player in high school than basketball player, if people can imagine that. And you just mentioned that you missed playing soccer. Any chance we'll see you out on the soccer pitch during your 4 years at CCU?
There have been some talk about it, but at this point, I don't think so. Unless I go back for my 5th year, I'll definitely play soccer then.
Talking with Christina Whitelaw of Colorado Christian University. At the beginning of the show, Christina, we mentioned all the teams that are 4 and 5, and CCU being one of them, and kind of on the bubble right now to get into that RMAC tournament, let alone the NCAAs, which you got into last year, and this weekend. Another big game coming up as you play Fort Lewis. You just beat Metro, the number 2 team in the country, and now as a bonus, you get to play at Fort Lewis, the number 6 team in the country. What's it going to take to defeat a team like the Skyhawks?
It's going to be a lot of preparation and just a lot of heart. I think any game comes down to just who wants it more, and at this point, anything is possible trying to get into the tournament. So we're just really focused on this Friday and just doing all we can to prepare for it.
Well, hey, Christina, we want to thank you for taking some time out today, and good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
All right, that is Christina Whitelaw, the RMAC/Baden Offensive and Defensive Player of the Week from Colorado Christian University. As we mentioned, the Cougars will be heading to Fort Lewis College to take on the Skyhawks. And for more on what's happening in RMAC women's basketball this week, let's head over to Chris Polton at the RMAC Sports Desk.
Thanks, Eric. Fort Lewis stands alone atop the RMAC standings after Colorado Christian upset Metro State last weekend. The 6th-ranked Skyhawks welcome in the upset-minded Cougars looking for back-to-back wins over top-ranked opponents on Friday night in Durango. Saturday night, Colorado Mines pays a visit to Wayland Gymnasium. The Ore-Diggers begin the weekend at 4 and 5 and look to build off their win over Regis University. Metro State sets their sights on beginning a new winning streak. The Roadrunners have a tough task ahead heading to Masari Arena on Friday night. CSU Pueblo searching for their 8th straight win in conference. MSCD then heads north to Colorado Springs, where UCCS aims to climb back to 500 in conference. Only one game this weekend for Colorado Mesa and Western State as they meet up on Friday night in Gunnison. The Mavericks and Mountaineers are both at 6 and 4, and with a win can take over a game lead on the 4th spot in conference. Nebraska Kearney stays put this weekend, welcoming in Western New Mexico on Friday and then New Mexico Highlands on Saturday night. The Mustangs still searching for their first win as the Cowgirls enter the weekend at 4 and 6. As for the Lopers, they come into the weekend at 2 and 7 and losers of 3 straight. Chadron State also has these same two New Mexico schools on opposite nights of the Lopers. The Eagles enter the weekend at 2-7, coming off a big win over rival UNK. Adams State is hoping to stay with the 5 other teams who are at 4-5 to begin the weekend. The Grizzlies host CSM on Friday night, and then Saturday night CCU invades Plackey Hall. Lastly, there's Regis, also hoping to get back to 500 as well as ending a 2-game slide. The Rangers travel to UCCS on Friday, then CSUP on Saturday night. You can catch all the scores from the weekend at rmacsports.org. I'm Chris Polton, and that's your women's basketball update.
Thank you, Chris. When we come back, we're going to talk men's basketball on the RMAC Radio Show.